Welcome to the Twisted League. My name is Zayla, and with the goal of reaching the maximum total level in every game mode, I welcome you to my series. So, after maxing in the last episode, we move on to the next adventure. I am landlocked to the continent of Zia in the Karan and Kabos region. I have 63 days to reach the maximum total level of 2,277, which I'll have to accomplish through unorthodox methods that could only work in Zia. To do this, I have to construct my account in a way that maximizes my gameplay at certain sections of the game, and in Twisted League I can do that with relics. Relics are power boosts that are awarded in exchange for tasks, and the first relic that I chose was Endless Endurance. If I'm going to accomplish my early game objectives in a reasonable time frame, then I can't be walking around Zia. I'm going to be needed to be able to run around as much as possible, and with this relics, I can run around forever without having to worry about my character's weight or losing run energy. Alright, so we're 15 minutes into Twisted League, and I thought it would be a good idea to get the Client of Karen quest done as quickly as possible. In my theory crafting before Twisted League came out, I realised that I was going to need the favour certificate that you got from the quest, so I could use it on the Piscarilius house. I also need the XP lamps, which I'm going to use on construction right off the bat, but as it turns out you need a house in order to use these lamps, so I'm undecided on what I'm going to use them on at this time. Anyway, our next stop is Land's End, so I can pick up the gear that I'm going to need to rush Hunter. My first objective in the early game is to rush 53 Hunter, so I can catch Chinchompers before that area gets overrun by other players. I am still undecided on what I'm going to do with the XP lamps that I got from Client of Karen, so whilst I figure that out, I think it would be a good idea to get myself 5 thieving so I can move down to Hosidius and get some cakes so I can heal myself. I don't know if I'm going to head out to Mulch and grind 1 to 9 Hunter on Christmas Swifts, or use my lamps on Hunter and start on Copper Longtails instead. Alright, so I got myself a full inventory of cakes for my trip to Mulch. I'm going to head back to the docks to get a boat to Land's End and run to Christmas Swifts to start Hunter. Okay, so I actually changed my mind. I don't think I'm going to go to Mulch. I don't think it's a very good idea, so I'm just going to use one of the lamps on Hunter and the other one on Herblore. I'm also probably going to use all the XP lamps I get during Twisted League on Herblore because it seems like the most difficult skill to train out of the other 23 skills. Alrighty, the grind to 35 Hunter wasn't too bad, but this is it for my bird hunting days. It's time to move on and grind out 43 fishing so I can start aerial fishing. Aerial fishing is going to give me passive fishing experience on top of Hunter, which is going to be helpful when I make it to the Wintertodt, as my reward crates are going to contain better food. Speaking of Wintertodt, there was a oak tree near the Copper Longtails, so I got some 0-time woodcutting and fire making XP, which I am very happy about, as that is going to cut down my preparation time for Wintertodt. Alright, so the fishing grind is going to take a little bit of time. I need to get 15 fishing here in Land's End before I can move on and get my fly fishing rod for fly fishing trout and salmon, which I am going to do all the way up to 43. Then I can move on and start aerial fishing as soon as possible. I must admit though, I am a bit behind schedule because Coppered Longtails was so busy. So many people were doing Hunter, man. Yes, I got myself a random event and picked myself up 1k, which is basically a free house in Hosidius. Now I can get construction XP when I make it to the Wintertodt and perhaps make it all the way to Oak Larders, which I still haven't figured out is the way to 99 construction, but that's obviously a long way to go before I can start thinking about training construction. So for the next phase of my early game plan, I need 25 cooking so I can make a stew. I need to be able to make a stew when I make my way back to the Piscarilius docks, as I'm going to complete the Queen of Thieves quest, and to complete that quest I need to give some old man a stew during the quest. Okay, that's 25 cooking done. Let's move on to Piscarilius. Okay, so I'm stopping by in Hosidius again. I'm buying a house before I forget to do it with the 1k I got earlier from the random event, and I need to get myself 20 thieving anyway to do Queen of Thieves. Alrighty, so that's Queen of Thieves done, but I'll be honest, I was rushing aerial fishing this early on into Twisted League because I thought I needed not only just to start catching chinchompers, but to also nab myself the barbarian fishing rod, which you can buy with the mulch pearls that I would have got from aerial fishing. But as it turns out, the Warren's fishing store has one in stock, so that's brilliant. That saves me a lot of time. I also needed the Warren store to nab myself a normal fly fishing rod to get 43 fishing anyway. So off we go to Assiduous and start our fishing grind. Okay, so this is going to be 43 fishing. I've banked quite a bit of trout and salmon in case I need some high healing food for my level later on. I'm still level 10 HP and I'm going to keep it that way for a little while. So trout and salmon are actually very good food for my level. Anyway, enough chatting, let's get ourselves over to Shazen and make our way over to Mulch Island. It is very, very quiet at this side of Zia at the moment. I don't think many people thought about doing aerial fishing at the start. From what I've noticed, everyone seems to be rushing Winter Todd, which isn't a bad strategy, but I think mine is better. Anyway, it's just me on Mulch Island at the moment. I think I was one of the first people to get here, which is actually pretty sick. So, I have logged off RuneLite at this point because I didn't want to be banned or disqualified from competing in Twisted League because I was using unfair third-party client software or something, which is, I've basically seen other content creators being banned for something like that in the past, and I don't want that to happen to me. But it doesn't make much of a difference anyway. I didn't need the screen regions that come with RuneLite. I'm probably going to be playing on the 07 clan for a lot of Twisted League over the next couple of months because of this. Alright, fantastic, that's 53 Hunter. We are still a bit behind schedule, but the progress is going as quickly as it can do. I also managed to nab myself a hard clue scroll, which I'm going to leave in the bank for the moment, as I might need some rewards from hard clue scrolls later on. Also got myself some decent cooking XP, so I'm all set to do the cooking core when I'm just going to start getting the Assiduous favor that I need later on, and of course some very decent fishing XP too from this grind. So the hunter grind begins here. It does seem like I was the third person to get to chinchompers before everyone else, but I'm looking at the high scores right now and there are a ton of people rushing hunter just like me at the moment, so I'm expecting to get crashed here at any minute. So yeah, I basically got crashed just like I thought I would. I managed to get an hour and a half of hunting to myself before someone else turned up. Every world is packed to like 2 or 3 people are hunting in one spot as small as this. Is a really nightmare situation, and that is basically happening in every world at the moment. But I've made the most of it and I've 0-timed 55 making from the oak tree here, so I am all set to start Winter Todd. So I accumulated enough points to unlock my second relic, and I picked the hardcore harvester relic. With this bad guy, I'm going to receive triple the usual amount of resources that I'd get from mining, fishing, woodcutting, harvesting herbs, and from my farming contracts as well. I can also get triple the amount of mulch pearls from aerial fishing if I ever decide to go back and get the golden trench, which is worth 500 points by the way. Oh, and my farming crops grow a lot faster now as well. Also, as you can see here, I'm having all kinds of trouble being crashed, and I am very frustrated about it. Alright, so I missed level 80 Hunter, but this is 82, and the reason why being in the 80s of Hunter is of significance is because I got 100 points from completing a hard task, which is going to contribute to my third relic. Okay, so the end of day 1 is here, and it's technically 3 hours into day 2 right now as it's 3:30 AM, but these are my stats at the end of the day, and we're going to go and sleep now. I'm probably going to regret when I wake up, as there's basically no one here crashing me at chinchompers for the first time in like 10 hours, but I really need to sleep, I'm really tired. Okay, we're nice and refreshed, day 2 is here, and I managed to pull myself out of bed to start up this hunter grind. I wanted to be the first person to reach 99 hunter, but somehow the guy who is rank 1 right now has just completely blown everyone out of the high scores and is too far ahead, so unfortunately I'm not going to be able to get that achievement. However, the chinchompers are looking very empty this morning right now, so hopefully it remains like this for the rest of the day. So I got crashed half an hour after logging on in this morning, and as you can tell by my voice, I am not happy about it, and I just cannot be bothered competing with other people for chinchompers, so it's time to move on and use my time in a better way. 3.5k chins for my Slayer grind later on into Twisted League isn't bad though, and chinchompers aren't going anywhere. Hopefully when I come back here later on into the league, it won't be as packed. We are back in Hosidius, and I am about to nab myself 38 thieving. We can now pickpocket master farmers, so it's time to start out thieving and getting the seeds we need for 34 farming. If you didn't know, 34 farming is the minimum requirement to start the Tithe farming minigame. I also need 100% Hosidius favor to start Tithe farm, but with thanks to my gains on day 1, I can start gaining favor whenever I want. All I need is 18 agility to do the Depths of Despair quest, which will get me the 20% favor and let me skip the plows, which I heard were 10 times worse than what I was facing at chinchompers, and let me tell you, chinchompers were really bad. Okay, so before we start pickpocketing the master farmer, I'm going to need a bit more HP. I'm going to aim for 18 HP, which is just low enough to make Winter's Hard efficient, but will also mean I'm not chomping all my cakes when I get hit and stunned on a failed pickpocket. Farming gains are coming in slowly but surely, though with just one allotment to use, 34 farming is going to take a little bit of time. But with this hardcore harvester relic, it's actually doing absolute work with these early game herbs. I don't think herb lore is going to be difficult as I originally thought it was because of this relic. 60 thieving coming in. Another medium task done, which contributes 50 points to my next relic. And this, my friends, is 64 thieving and my last pickpocketing trip from the master farmer here. I don't foresee myself needing any more farming supplies from him, as I've just unlocked the chests in the Lizardman Temple and Mulch, which are going to give me some high level seeds. But this is the end of day 2 in Twisted League, at least from your point of view. I still have a few more hours to kill, but I am essentially just waiting to get the 34 farming requirement so I can start Tithe farming and unlock my farming contracts. With the end of day 2, let's take a quick recap of what we accomplished so far. At the beginning of day 1, we completed the Client of Korend and Queen of Thieves quest, which gave me 30% favor in the Priscarius house, and perhaps more significantly, opened up the fishing skill. We were also a bit lucky and nabbed ourselves 1k from a random event, which allowed us to unlock our POH in Hosidius. Through a combination of aerial fishing and chinchomper hunting, we accomplished 86 hunter and gained 3.5k chinchompers that we're going to need later on when we begin Slayer. We also unlocked the farming skill through the master farmer and achieved 64 thieving, which unlocked the temple chests in Mulch for when we eventually go for 99 thieving. The farming supplies we gained through pickpocketing the master farmer got us the supplies we need to go for 34 farming and begin the Tithe Maham minigame. These supplies will also come in handy for when we need to begin completing farming contracts. And that, my friends, is the end of the first episode of Max, the Twisted League edition. My goal is to accomplish the max total level in every version of Oldschool Runescape, and with today's games, we've taken our first steps to reaching our end goals in the Twisted League. I have 61 days left to max. With that in mind, why not subscribe to my channel so you can follow my progress? And if you really don't want to miss an episode, then why not follow Max on Twitter? I begun this Twitter handle for my Max series because YouTube hasn't been showing my videos in my subscription boxes or recommended feeds for my subscribers, and so if you want to see my progress towards maxing in Twisted League, then this is the best way to keep up to date with every episode. Day 3 of Twisted League is coming, and my first 99 is on the horizon. I'll be sure to see you in the next episode of Maxed.
Where is she now? Is she on the floor or where?